This week's episode is sponsored by dailygiving.org. Great organization gives out $1 a day to over 40 incredible organizations a year. There's over 5,000 people signed up with giving out over $2 million a year. It's an incredible opportunity. Have someone give out money on your behalf. Join this. dailygiving.org, dailygiving.org. So we're right now ascending the mountain. We are 10 days or so from Shavuot, from the festival, the holiday that is the commemoration of the giving of the Torah Mount Sinai. The rabbis teach us that every year, spiritually, it's re-given, which means that we have the opportunity to reconnect in a much bigger way than we ever had, coming in 10 days, our own personal Matan Torah. And at that moment, the Jews achieved something that was unbelievable. We don't really know if they've ever done it like that again. They achieved something. The verse says, Vayichan Sham Yisrael neged Har, the Jews encamped around the mountaintop. Rashi, the commentator who's so particular and sensitive to grammar, realizes that Vayichan is singular, Am, nation, is plural. Why is it called Vayichan? It should be Vayachanu in a plural form, and says, you know why it was written in a singular? Because God is teaching us they encamped around Ki ish echad belev echad, like one nation, one person, one heart. They were unified. And it's that unity that was achieved that made them worthy of seeing God and getting the Torah. And from that moment on until now, we're struggling and striving for unity. We hear this all the time. If we would just be more unified, if we would just be more unified. Well, what is unity? How do we achieve it? Or how do we move towards it? So we just came out of it, or we're still in it, to be honest. A week ago, we got the news of a tragedy that took place in the top of Meron. And as soon as the news started to go around the world, something magical happened. Jews from all over the world started to feel pain. It was hard, but it was magical. Because the pain they felt wasn't for themselves or for the people they knew. Most people did not know those that were on directly. But they felt the pain nonetheless. Why? What happened right afterwards was this, especially in Israel, was this incredible sense of unity. All of a sudden in that tragedy, it didn't matter where you're from. It didn't matter what your background was. It didn't matter what your beliefs were. Nothing mattered. Why? Because when you come up to life itself, to life and death, you focus on that. Life and death trumps any other thing going on in your life. And as the Jews, as people started to understand what was going on, they realized that that was the most important thing to think about. And we turned our attention to people that we didn't know because we felt the pain of what they were going through. And as everyone began to focus their attention on those families, something magical happened. We felt unified because our minds were focused on the same thing. What is unity? You see, we grow up and we're born with a mentality of selfishness. The baby doesn't think, it's 2 a.m., my mom is exhausted, I can wait until 6 for my bottle. It's terrible anyways, it's formula. The baby's thinking me. When kids are fighting, they're grabbing toys for themselves. As we get older, we still somehow keep this mentality of me and me and me. What's good for me? When do I get mine? And sometimes it never leaves us. What about me? What about mine? What about my family? You're taking from mine. You don't look like me. Wherever we are, those to the right of us seem like they're fanatics, and those to the left of us seems like they're not even paying attention because I figured out the exact right way to live. Religiously, I got it. Politically, I got it. Economically, I got it. Sociologically, whatever it is, if it's in my head, it's the middle. We live in a world where when someone disagrees with you politically, you can't even live with them anymore because it's about me, my beliefs, my opinions. I'm so sure of myself. Look at the world. Just look at the world. Every person knows for sure they're right. Me, me, me. God says, guess what? Me is the path of fragmentation. God says only one truth in this world. You know what that truth is? God says, that's me. You ain't. You're just trying. You're a work in progress. You're not perfect. You're not supposed to be perfect. That's okay. And I put you into this world. You don't know everything. But let me tell you what happens, God says. When the most thing you're thinking about is yourself, you're going to miss out on what unity really is. Unity is when you think beyond yourself. Unity is when a group of people think of something beyond themselves. When a family worries about the family over themselves, they become unified. When a community thinks about something beyond itself, when everybody shares a common purpose, then you don't lose yourself. You take yourself and you bring it to the group and you become more. The players that all play for one championship, they don't become less players. They become more in their ability to play. A family that knows that they stand for something beyond just their own personal needs. Each person maintains their distinction, but they become more. We become more when we think of others. And when we all think of others, we become unified. When we have a single focus that we all share, that's the essence of unity. On Mount Sinai, the Jewish people saw God and said, that's our focus. We're his people. We're here for a reason. He's the king. When everybody saw that focus, they all became unified because they had a unifying purpose. That's our challenge. To live a life with a greater purpose than ourselves. To be part of something more than ourselves. To allow ourselves to melt into something bigger than ourselves. To catch ourselves when it's so focused on me and say, I want to be beyond me. And maybe, just maybe, to be able to look up and say, we're here for a reason. There's a creator of the universe. And if we're all here for him, then we all got the same purpose. Each one in their own rules, each one in their own roles. But we're all unified. That's our challenge. To be able to be unified in purpose. To be able to realize that there's one creator that we're all under. To be able to think past ourselves. And maybe, just maybe, this year, coming out of that tragedy, we learned how to be unified in pain. Maybe we can now be unified in something more positive, but in a greater purpose.